So, hello everybody. We are back and I'm super excited today because I'm speaking with someone now who most of you know for sure. And I mean, how can I introduce him? Mr. Bromance, Mr. Randsport, Björn Werner himself. Hello, Björn.
Hello, Jennifer. Finally, it's my time to get an interview here. I told Patrick the whole time, Mr. Commissioner, when do I get the chance to talk about this new wonderful league?
Oh,
And he said,
Björn.
Your time will come. He said, Your time will come.
Your time is here right now. And as I said, I'm super happy to speak with you now. And I hope you brought enough time because I have plenty of questions.
Ooh, I can't promise,
Yes.
but I think we
know
can get it
everything.
done. I'm used to talking a lot, so you need to interrupt me if you want to ask the next question. So,
well, let's see how it goes. But let's start about your career as an active player first. I mean, how could a guy make it from the Berlin Adlers to the first round pick of the Indianapolis Colts?
That's an easy question to answer. You're starting off just kidding. Obviously, we need to. Where do I start, right? I get that question a lot, right? Especially the young kids here in Germany, in Europe, asking me this all the time via social media. It's obviously a lot easier to get in contact with guys like me, Sebastian Vollmer, Kasimi Dabali, like all the former German NFL players, Markus Kuhn, or even current players like Jacob Johnson or Martin Zocha. And it's always like, oh man, I wish I could tell you everything what it needs to take, but it's obviously a lot more than just answering in a few sentences, right? But what I will say is what the way I did it and why I made it is a lot of hard work and sacrifice that a lot of young players, especially in the 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, right? The U19 age. This is kind of like your window of opportunity to make the jump over to the US. And we know from a lot of like friends, family, maybe you, Jennifer, right? Sometimes it takes a long time to think about what do I want to do after school, right? Where do I want to go? Luckily, I was in a position that very early, like with 14 years old, when I started playing football with 12, I started playing flag football for the Berlin Adlers. And I played 2 years of flag football, and then I went up to the U19. And right away, I fell in love with the sport, and I knew I wanted to go to the US, and there was no other plan. So it's tough, obviously, to tell everybody just have this plan and no backup plan, but this is the way I was thinking. But I also realized very early, 14, 15 years old, at a time like I had the natural talent that my parents gave me, and I used it, right? I used it with hard work, doing practice, and especially in Germany and in Europe, it's tough to get the perfect conditions around you, like a football field next to your school, a gym where you have free access, video and video tools where you can analyze it. Like we are not obviously on the same level like the college football or like even like good high school teams over there, right? In the US, not every high school team in the US is good, but a lot of them are very good and they run these things very professionally. So I was just like trying to use what I got. I had a great mentor and Coach Jörg. He was the U19 head coach from the Berlin Adlers, who did everything and more for his kids during his time. And I'm so fortunate to have him as a mentor in my life that in this age that put me on this path to go to the US, right? The way it all works, worked out. It was a program, because this is where we're going to probably too, like through the NFL Europe, like the international student program. It was a program from the NFL because of the NFL Europe. They wanted to push it. They wanted to try and get more international players into high schools in the US with the hope of eventually getting kids into the NFL one day. And it actually worked out with me and Kasimi Dabali out of Hamburg. So that's the short version of it. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. I'll be honest, a lot of people, teenagers, they want to enjoy themselves and party a lot. And I always say, I never really partied. I never really drank alcohol. I never smoked. But I'm not saying you can't do it to be successful in the sport and go to the US. You can do it, but in moderate, you can't like do it the way your school friends are doing it, like drinking every weekend or like chilling every day, like after school, and you have to focus, build out your week and your whole year at an early age and work for it, and hopefully the chance, some opportunity, some kind of chance arises and you take it and go with it. And this, my story, very suppressed.
Thank you very much. But yeah, as you said, you need to work hard on achieving your goals, especially when it comes to like the top level sports. But you mentioned the NFL Europe. I mean, what influence did the league have on your career?
It was a huge influence. I remember the Berlin Thunders and the Olympia Stadium when we, as young flag football flaggies, we went to the games, 12 years old, 13 years old, and this was our highlight during the summer month. It was like 3 months. The season was like 3 months, and this was our highlight on the weekends. We went to the games. Most of the time, obviously, you found a way to get free tickets through your club somehow, because obviously the NFL Europe kind of supported this whole thing and had a lot of the older guys were working for the team somehow on game day. And then we got like tickets, so we always went and you look on the field, sitting in this big stadium when you grew up in Berlin, and this Olympia Stadium in Berlin is the stadium, like the stadium in this, and it was a dream just at that point already. Just one day I want to play in the NFL Europe for the Berlin Thunders, when I was 12, 13 years old, right? You've seen guys like Christian Moore, who's in Aachen right now, still training guys, doing a great job. He was guys I looked up to. There was other guys, damn, I don't want to say it, but Patrick Azuma was already on the sidelines, I don't want, I want to keep his name out of it. Yeah.
He's everywhere.
No, but like, I met Patrick very early, like not really realizing it, but like he was from Hamburg, but like, yeah, I knew who Patrick was when I was 14 years old. I knew who Shua Fatah was, because obviously he was a Berlin guy. Is a Berlin guy, and was very involved with the Adlers. So you knew all the coaches. It was a small family, a small circle, and that motivated obviously me on that level. Obviously, then at one point always came that when I was 14, I don't want to just play in the NFL Europe. I want to play with the big boys, like go all the way. And I knew I had to make the jump. And luckily, one day, when I was 15 years old, I heard about this program that was running for like 3 to 4 years. And I was in the first, I don't know if I was the first cycle or the second one, but I saw like on the Berlin Thunder website, because I was on it, checking out for the next game, for whatever. And you saw the little like ad, you want to play in the US, like very small in the corner. I was like, okay, clicked on it. And then an email popped up on like the short description with Patrick Steenberg, who was involved with global football. It's crazy. I mean, it's actually, there was a lot of like luck involved as well to find these people and the program. And but yeah, the NFL Europe played a huge part of my success, because it kept motivating me as a young kid to keep working, right, to get better as a football player.
So what is your best memory from the NFL Europe, if you can pick one?
The best memories, like before the game starts, you have all these like blown up I don't know, field goals, tackle drills, food trucks, things like that, where you were just running around. You were there like 2 hours early, just with your friends from your club team, and just having a good time, right? I mean, yes. Just like the whole I guess tailgating, you can call it tailgating, right? And the whole tailgating experience, the fun with the family and the friends. But with me, it was obviously more like my friends, because my whole family is soccer players and soccer fans, or football. I don't know what we call it here, but the round ball. So they were never really like into it with American football. So obviously I did it with my close friends with the Berlin Adlers.
You know what? I can share a memory as well from the NFL Europe.
Which one?
Because I was born in Düsseldorf, so we had the Rheinfire team. And my sister was a cheerleader.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here you go. So did you go to the games?
Sorry?
Did you go to the games?
Yeah, I went to the games to cheer for my little girl.
There we go. Were you already involved with American football at that time, or was it literally just a cheerleading part with your sister?
No, just the cheerleading part. So both of us, we used to dance a lot in our youth, and yeah, back then she got the opportunity. I was already out of school, so but yeah, I enjoyed watching her. So that was my very first NFL Europe experience, or basically American football experience, I have to say. But
That's
good old
awesome.
memories.
I feel like we forget how many people back in the day were in the stadiums already, and how many people actually knew of American football. Looking back at in the whole hype right now, right? What Patrick is a part of, what I am a part of, and all like these other guys on TV, the fans, the TV stations, all the different TV stations, all the media outlets who are reporting about it, right, are a huge part. But in today's world, it's a lot easier to spread news with social media than it was when the NFL Europe was playing, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like there was already a lot, like a big fan base, and the NFL Europe and the local football was also still different things, you know. And I feel like there was a lot of fans who were just waiting for this hype right now and say, "Oh, I've been there from the beginning," you know. But we never knew about them really, because the social media world is just a whole other world, right? It's so easy to you know to get in contact with people and kind of like analyze too how many people follow these accounts, how many people like these posts. That makes it a lot easier to track things. But I mean, there were games with like 20, 25, 30,000 people in the stadium, and that was 2007.
Absolutely. No, it was a great time. And as you said, the social media or the internet in general opens up the world for us. So we really, we can connect with so many people that share the same passion. But looking back at your own path, you made it from Europe to the United States. And nowadays you're supporting young players and talents with your nonprofit organization, Grid Iron Imports. What made you start this program or project?
So it started right when I was in my last year in the NFL, and I knew my career's pretty much like over, because I knew my body is not taking anymore. And my old high school coach, who helped me get over, obviously, into my high school at the Salisbury School in Connecticut, like a private school, he was a huge part as well and a huge mentor. And we were talking the whole time. Man, like there's so I knew it. There was so many more players like me over there. They have the talent, and we need to help build a bridge. With like a program, the one I was using, you know, and the NFL Europe obviously had their part of the whole like international program, right, where you can become an NFL Europe player, and then if you're good enough, you get selected to become a practice squad player. But that way, it's a lot tougher to become, you know, like I guess it's like a solid player in the NFL, because the gap between like 16 and like 21, 22 is the most important time span of your football career where you develop. And obviously the Americans are, for a reason, very good in a lot of sports, because their high school system and their college system are second to none. I mean, I lived it at Florida State. It's like you're like a professional. You train like a professional from the morning till night, and then you combine it with school, and the focus is like football. Once you're done with school, and over here you had like, everybody knows it who's listening right now, who's playing in a club team in Europe. How many guys are really going to the gym and training? Excuse me.
Bless you.
And it was the same back in the day. Like, how many people are motivated just for the love of the game to go to the gym, work out, and do all these things to get better, right, and become a better football player. And now I lost the thought of the actually question, but I don't know.
What made you start this project? But also,
here we go.
Who's supporting you? Who's supporting you with your project?
You know what's crazy, and it's a critical point right now. Just after 5 years, learning a lot about the landscape. My goal was to start it, to build a bridge, and obviously work with a lot of with the federations in Europe, not only in Germany, the federations, the coaches, the clubs. But there's a lot of obstacles I experienced the last few years, and which are a lot of them are not good, and and that's the tough part of it, because I feel like the way it's been going, there's a lot of focus in the senior teams and not in the youth. And I'm a big fan of, or like I'm a guy, you need to invest in the youth to profit in the long run in your seniors teams, or in the brands or in the clubs. But for instance, I was never like a fan of imports, that you get imports, you spend a lot of money for a German team or a European team, and they are getting literally kicked out, and then they buy another import right away. And I'm like, what happened with developing and maybe putting that money, a budget by side, and developing and putting that into a youth team of your own, where you can actually have a head coach who can do it full time? Because how many coaches, how many clubs have one full-time coach on their staff? Not a lot of them, you know. Not a lot of them can live of it. And obviously, the coaches who do it on the side, they have also families and other work to do, and they do everything possibly. But the good ones, and I've seen that, the good coaches, they all disappeared after a while, because they said there's the point in your time in your life where we need to focus on our families too. We need to make money to put food on the table. I have kids now. And that's that kind of the circle I've been seeing. I grew up in that circle, and I'm still seeing it right now, trying to help kids coming over to the US. And my focus was always with the foundation to work with the federations. But here am I sitting right now, 5 years later, and I have no relationships to any federations in Europe. And I was one of the guys coming out of Europe. And that's the sad part, where I'm getting very emotionally every time when I talk about this topic, because it's sad. It's very sad, especially with the hype we've been having with the whole NFL thing. A lot of people, and it's not everybody. There's some coaches, and there's a lot of names, but I'm not going to say these names right now. I'm very close with. They have my number. They can text me every time, and they do it, and they do the right things. But it doesn't start with the coaches from the local club teams who don't get paid. It starts with the federation, then with the clubs, and then goes to the coaches. So there's a lot of obstacles. You have a lot of coaches who send false information out to players. That means there's a lot of trust me. There's a lot of information you need to know: rules, academic, amateurism statuses. What can I do, and what can I do to become a college football player? Mm-hmm. That's the first step of becoming an NFL player. Now, today, obviously, we have the Pathway program. That's a huge program, but we can see it also. We kind of dipped in the whole the self-made guys who went to college and get drafted, because of they put their time in over the years. Casimir Bali went over when he was 17 years old. Sebastian Former went over when he was 18 years old, played college football. So these kind of guys are kind of like, where are they right now? Like there was a huge hole in it. After one point, like when I was still active, we had 6 active NFL players from Germany. How did we not catch on this trend and start focusing on the youth and realizing, man, we have a lot of good players. Let's keep feeding the pipeline and use the products that come out of it. And I mean it with marketing, right? Working with these guys and using their names to help to let them come back to Germany, do camps, promote these things. That never happened. Not once did somebody reach out to me from a federation that, we want to find a way to build the youth program, to kind of see if we can use your name to get donors, whatever, get money somehow involved in the youth, where we can help this, like, and raise the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm mad about the whole time. And me living in the last 5 years in the circle of Gridiron Imports trying to help these kids. There was a few people who put money into this foundation. I put my own money into it, but I was always trying to find a connection to the federations. But it's like, if I would quote people, very important people, not only in Germany, no, not like in Austria, in Sweden. And I talk to guys or coaches that are scared to say what they say because they are scared that their club or whatever says, okay, you're done. And I was like, hey, as a coach, you take on the responsibility, what's best for your player. If there's a talented player on your roster and he wants to go to the US, you better do everything possible to support that and find the answers, right? Because as a coach, it's always like that, right? When you have a player and a coach, nobody should know. Everybody knows the coaches as coaches. The coach is not getting into the business with, oh, hopefully one day everybody knows my name. Like the main goal is the players that had contact with me hopefully see me as a mentor and I can help them in life, not only on the football field, but also on off the field. But there's a lot of stuff happening that coaches are taking the club teams over the players or their own like status, meaning if the good players, this is what I keep hearing. If I send my best players to the US, my U19 team is not winning the championship this year. And I was like, what? And I hear this and that's what I'm saying. I hear this every year so many times, and I'm like balling up and say, and you need to realize it. Once you put people into a pipeline, they get successful and they become a name, like these guys who did it, then a lot more, 10 more come to your club team, your local club team, and you get more players that you can train and develop. But there is no develop part, like really, because there's a lot of teams. There's some good teams who have good programs because their senior teams making some money and they're realizing that development is important. But there's not everybody. There's no guidelines. There are successful teams who don't really have a good competitive U19 team, And this is the crazy part for me. How is this not a priority for everybody who's involved with American football in Europe, that we should invest some portion of the money that comes into the youth and develop these kids, and hopefully they can become the star on my senior team, right? And there's a lot of different opinions. There's guys who listen right now who say, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? Yeah, this is my opinion, a former NFL player from Germany who grew up in this in this circle, and I lived it. And I lived it the last 5 years, still trying to do the right thing, helping kids and build a bridge. And that shouldn't be my job. There should be the federation's jobs. All of the federations in Europe, they should have a program like this that we send kids over. But it's too much work.
No,
if we send the best players away, we are not playing good.
Yeah, it would be the best for the sport, and it's very disappointing because, as you said, the more popular the sport becomes, the more young players will follow up and the more talents will finally be here. So what advice can you give to young players or talents that are dreaming of making it to the NFL but may not get the opportunity for any reason?
Oof, yeah, that is the good questions. It's very tough because I feel like a lot of my honest answers are not accepted by the majority, in the system. And this is what, usually, yes, you should trust your coach. Obviously hopefully your coach in your local team, wherever you are in Europe, has your interest first. And if you're a good player, there's one point. Let's go to the players really quick before I can answer this question. You players out there need to realize too, only the best can make it in the US. The best can only make it to become a Division I college football player. From there, only like 1.5% make it to the NFL. And there, the average is 3 years in the NFL. So it's very competitive. So if you come to me, come to a coach, come to whoever's out there trying to help kids somehow get over, ask yourself the question, am I dominating at my level? Am I 17 years old playing wherever I am I dominating? Am I, when I go to a camp, am I dominating continuously? And that's the question a lot of kids can't face themselves. And that's in any business, right? If you're not even the best locally, there's no chance you're going to make it to the US, and especially unless you pay a lot of money. Obviously, you can pay with money. You can pay. You can buy yourself everything, but that's not the point here, right? Are you the best player? Because obviously, we helped a lot of kids. Really, like there's a lot of kids in the US right now through our organization. Some on higher levels, some on lower levels. But the thing, what I get a lot, I turned down hundreds of kids over the last 5 years because I said, and I'm being very honest, in the moment, you should focus on getting better first instead of focusing right now, how do I get over here right now to the US? Because if you can't dominate your level, and there's always natural freaks, right, who are like 6'5", 270 pounds, and are so athletic and come from another sport or come right off the street, and those are not the norm, right? Those are like a rough diamonds. You can shape them to something, obviously, that's easier for them to make maybe the jump as an athlete. But if you don't have all these things, you need to pass the eye test. It's always, if you're an offensive lineman and you are 5'8", 5'10", 5'11", 5'12", how many college football players in Division I level are that size? That's just the truth, like how many NFL players, like you can see these guys, obviously there's always some undersized guys, yeah, but if you're completely off the scale, it's tough. Like you need to be, like a 15, 17, 16, 17, 18-year-old, like at one point you need to be realistic about your future as well, because the worst thing I'm seeing is that kids don't want to accept the reality, and they have this dream for a long time, and they waste very important years of their life because they put everything into it, and then they focus on actually setting their feet in this country where they're living and starting a life. Eventually that point comes, but this is what I'm saying. While you're in school is the best time to think about these plans and what you want to work for, right? Yeah. But once you're done with school, like your chances are getting even smaller and even smaller, because there also comes academic problems to even play college football. So the thing is, to your question, the original question, because I talked a lot again, to the original question, what would I advise the kids to do? Get more than one opinion, right? If
and be realistic, I guess.
Be realistic,
yeah.
But also get more opinions. It's just like what I learned in the NFL. Don't trust the first doctor you talk to.
Yeah.
You always get a second opinion. And if you play for a club team and you think you're the baller, only you can judge it. If you think you dominate everything, be realistic to yourself. But if you think you're a baller and you have it all, and your coach says, no, you don't have it all, maybe it's time to ask somebody else who's in the environment, who knows you. Maybe it is a coach from a different team who played against you. What is a coach to say, no, my kid is not allowed to get feedback from other players, from other teams or coaches? That's another thing. Like in Germany, for instance, this whole it's the amateurism leagues, amateurism teams. But then when it comes to, hey, you can't talk to this guy. No, you can't go to this camp. Then the club teams and federations act like they have these kids under contract, like professionals. And that's another point. It's another point I'm not understanding. It's an amateurism thing. There's no money going into kids. There's nothing. But then there are other opportunities arising. And then you're trying to make things like, you can't do it. You can't do that. You can't do that. And what? You're not their owner. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have a contract with kids, with players. Like obviously in the older teams, I'm still with the youth team right now. I'm still with the young guys, because I'll be honest, that's the most important thing for me. We need to start investing into the youth, because if the European League of Football is going to work, if the GFL is going to work, if the Austrian Football League is going to work in Austria, like everybody needs to start investing in the youth, that we can develop these kids, that they don't get injured after 3 practices.
Yeah.
Another point is like the development of the coaches. I'm seeing videos with social media, and that's the interesting part, right? You see a lot. You can actually have a lot of eyes that way. There is a lot of things I'm seeing out there with a lot of club teams when kids the new trend is for the kids, right? I mean, I can't fault the kids, right? I'm doing it too right now after my career, right? So using social media, a lot of likes, oh cool, how many views I have. But all these kids are right now already pretending that, like a lot of them, pretending already they're NFL players. Like, you know, like, hey, look how great I'm training right now. That's the thing. I was always training in the darkness, right? Like, put in the work first, and then once you achieve the level in the specific area, then you can enjoy these things. That's just my motto, you know. And that's what I'm seeing with the trend right now. People are not realistic what they're putting out there in the world, right? Like that. When I see some training videos from players, I was like, oof, that does not look good.
No.
But the kid thinks because he's putting out there, it looks very good. And I was like, holy shit, somebody should tell him that, a coach or whatever, this is the way you do it the wrong way. This is not good, you know. And we need to catch these kids. And that starts with the club teams. But
Again,
most club teams, more like most youth teams don't even have one full coach who's a full-time employee of the club. So that's the biggest problem. Obviously, he can't have 50 kids out there while he has his own family and he's making, I don't know, like $400 a month. Like, he can't, you know, like just put his family by side and his job that actually provides, you know, food for the family. So this is it's a circle, right? It's not just one thing. There's a lot of things that are wrong right now, or that are being done the wrong way the last few years. But going back to you see, I talk a lot. That's a problem. I have a problem because of Patrick. It's because of Patrick, Commissioner Izuma. I'm talking too much. Back to my advice. Yeah. Ask about. Yeah, I know. Ask somebody else in the industry, right? Ask, you know, somebody else. If it's maybe your I don't know what, like your state selection, Landesauswahl. There are tryouts. If you know what I'm saying, if you can't even make it in the tryout, because trust me, there's a lot of kids also who say the coaches don't like me, man, I'm the best. No, trust me, if you are the best, even if they don't like you, they're gonna take you because you are the best. If you are the best, and that will never change, right? And we see it in the NFL and college football. There's a lot of very good players getting away, unfortunately, with a lot of bad things off the field, right? If it's missed drug test or failed drug test, other things. So they always get, like, the good players get one more chance than other good players. Unfortunately, this never would change, I think, in sports in general. You know, the good players always will, like, if you're a good player, you will be seen. And that's my advice. Go to these different camps. Go to Landesauswahl, national team tryouts. But that's the next problem. We don't have a national team for the last 2-3 years, you know, in Germany. So obviously there's a lot of opportunities getting cut away too for the kids. So there's huge problems we need to all realize. Everybody who loves football needs to ask the question, how can I be a part and be realistic about myself, what I'm thinking, and try to get information, and especially be transparent. You know, and that's one thing I learned, especially the American way. The German way is a lot different, right? The German culture is a lot, let's hide away money. Let's don't talk about money. Let's don't talk about if I have a nice car, a big house. And the American way is the other way around, right? It's a lot of exactly. But a lot of the stuff you can learn out of that is transparency, you know, like in certain areas. And especially when it comes to sports, you know, everybody, this is the running joke. Everybody can see how much money I made through my NFL career because it's, you know, I can't hide it if I like it or not. But it's transparency. This is the way they shows it, you know. But over here in the sports world, and especially in soccer too, right? There's always a secret. Nobody knows really what's going on behind these contracts. And this every time there's no transparency, that's my opinion. There's a lot of shady stuff we never see that go behind our backs are being made. A lot of deals, a lot of handshake deals that we don't know of. And that's the problem in the football world, I think, too, that transparency is very important. Transparency between the player to a coach is very important. Being honest to the kid. Like, if you can tell a kid your honest opinion I feel like you fail already as a coach, you know, in a polite manner. In the same way, if the federation can be transparent the way they're building their structure to the club teams. When I talk to club teams, the people I know I played with, and club teams don't even know what's going on and what they're playing for. And I ask questions, right? I'm a big believer. Ask questions, you learn a lot. And even if a person doesn't want to answer a certain question, you can learn a lot about the topic.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, by the mimic, by the body language. And it is crazy that we are still at this point, and there's a lot of question marks out there in you know, in the football world in Europe in general, you know. And I'm
That's
not just
the mentality
that's what I'm saying.
here, and it's also in Germany. It's just completely different. So it's yeah, that's a downside, but maybe good for other parts of life. But yeah, when it comes to entertainment and sports and business, it's clearly better to be open. But so you mentioned the NFL Pathway Program earlier. What is your opinion about this program as a potential way to make it to the NFL?
It's a great way, because we have a different school system in Europe. Every country has a different system. But what I learned doing 5 years of helping kids, and I was very hands-on, and it's coming to this point where we're always trying to grow it and raise enough money to grow, to have it behind the team. But it's always been my old high school coach and me doing the work. And obviously it's getting tough at some point, because the expected help, especially partnering up with different people, you know, who are involved in the European world of football, never happened. I tried my best. It never happened, unfortunately. I gave a little, like, every effort I have, every really drip of sweat is crazy. But the Pathway program is a great program, and I love it, because the academic timeline for a potential college football student is very important to play college football, right? And we have, especially in Germany, I should just say locally in Germany, a lot of kids don't know these things when they're in 10th grade. Hey, if I don't do my Fachabitur, I can't play college football.
Yeah.
So if I do an apprenticeship, Ausbildung, then I can't play college football.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids don't know that. I tell them these things. They don't want to accept these things sometimes. Then they go somewhere else. So if you don't believe a guy who played in the NFL, who's doing this for these kids and talking to the college coaches, I can go through my phone right now and there's another thing, like, there's a lot of coaches I know I can talk right now. But the thing is, a lot of kids also, like, don't understand there's certain levels of college football. If I don't believe in you, that you are the best player, obviously I tell you that. Maybe I can work with you. When I tell you, okay, this is the level, what I think, maybe I can help you. I make no promises. Then they come, why don't you talk to the big schools like Alabama, Clemson, Florida? I said, because you're not their level. And obviously I'm not going to call somebody and send somebody there I don't believe in. And that's always been true to that, because I'm not going to ruin my name, my reputation, and just because I'm want to lie to a kid, you know. I'm very honest, and my kids know that. The kids who work with me for a long time, they know that, you know. They get an honest answer, and that's very important for me all the time. But
it is
the NFL
important.
Pathway with the apprenticeship, sorry, like now I'm getting back to the real answer. The Pathway program helps these kids, you know, who never Chris Izala, you know, with Ingolstadt now, right? So he never did an Abitur, and the Pathway program was his only way to make, you know, be seen by NFL teams. And that's the amazing part. Even if you can't play college football, there is an option now for you. If you maybe, and we know that too, there's a lot of people who start finding the sport of American football very late. Like if you're 18 and are already in an apprenticeship and Ausbildung, and then you get in contact with football, and you're like, man, I want to play in the NFL. And then everybody tells you, or like everybody should tell you, but most people don't know. That's the unfortunate part. Like, no, like it's the sad part that when I tell some people you can't do these things, oh damn, I didn't know that. Like I was telling these kids for years wrong, because nobody was trying to actually find these answers, right?
Yeah.
There was nobody put the effort into actually find these answers. But now there's a way with the Pathway. You can, as an older guy who maybe found the sport later, maybe who didn't have the academic requirements they need. There's a way now with the pathway program, and that's why I love it. Obviously, the NFL sees it. The NFL sees that what comes with it too, right? The guys, Jakob Johnson, David Bada, Izala, Moritz Björn, they get automatically with the hype we have right now, a huge follower base who supports them, and that's amazing for the sport back home, because obviously when they come from the local team where they come from, the team gets marketing, and the team at all the teams out there, which you guys, most of you didn't do that, start using these things and advertise these things. You start using these guys. The Stuttgart Scorpions are doing a very good job with Jakob Johnson, right? Posting things, inspiring the next generation. The Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns do a great job with David Bada. Like, use these guys. Yes, it hurts in the moment that they can't play for your team, but use their story, and you are part of the story as the club team or as a coach or whatever. Use it to inspire the next generation, you know. And I feel like we didn't do that well enough.
Yeah. So could a ELF pathway program become an alternative in the future?
Yeah, of course. You know, obviously Patrick and I talked a lot in our private time about these things, because unfortunately sometimes during the season we talk more with each other than with our wives. We'll do all these things together, but I'm a huge fan when he told me about it. And I'm not, like, a lot of people ask me if I'm involved or not. At this point, I'm not involved in anything, you know, and that's why I can full transparency, right? Because people sometimes think, oh, because Bjorn is saying these things because Patrick is involved. No, at this point, I'm not involved with anything with the ELF. I'm a fan because I think if you create something and are not scared to create something new, or if you are scared to risk something, you know, you would never know the potential of something, right? Like, a lot of people are scared to fail. We need to start, like, thinking outside the box with the football world. There's big people, or like there's big companies putting a lot of money into advertising now these days for TV, for media outlets. So how do we feel it in the local level in our kid? How is an 18, 20-year-old kid feeling that hype in his club team? That only happens if money starts somehow be floating into the club teams, and they can raise their standard. And I mean, with raise their standard, coaches getting paid. Coaches can focus from Monday through Sunday on their players, right? Club teams, or like they can start upgrading their facilities, like trying to get a gym near the football field somehow, or maybe get a membership for the guys. Have you know, like, try to support these things, and that only works with money. That's just the way it is, right? It works with money, that you can raise your level. And going back to creating another league, there's multiple things. Like, from the player perspective, I talk to a lot of players who are in a position right now who are, you know, trying to, okay, what am I doing next? And a lot of players are very intrigued, obviously, by the ELF, because if you're a college student in Germany, I'm talking about a German local guy, you're 20 years old, and you're studying. At one point, is this, okay, wait, my window of opportunity, nobody first of all tells me or knows how to help me go to the US. That's the first thing, right? Like, how can you motivate a kid or a young man to train his ass off every day, eating right, recovering right, learning his playbook, studying, just for the love of the game? Because at one point, and talk to every old player out there, at one point you're sick of it. You can't do it anymore because you don't see the next step. The way I made it to the NFL, I always seen the next step that motivated me to work very, very hard, right? Go to the high school level, from high school level to a college level to NFL, and even between that, I had different steps. But if you play locally the whole time, the motivation was always, and everybody has the dream. Everybody who plays football has the dream to play in the NFL one day. If you, I mean, if you don't have that dream, like, I don't know, like
you don't want to do it professionally. Same with football. Everyone wants to play in the highest league, Bundesliga.
that's what I'm saying. Everybody, exactly. I mean, everybody dreams of it, but not everybody is putting the work to do. That's another thing, right? But everybody dreams of it.
Yes.
But doesn't mean they work for it. That's all two different things. But now, like the way the structure is, from what I know with the league, the goal is right to pay players, and if you play good, you get paid better. You know what I'm saying? These are things where we have salary caps. If more money gets raised in the league, it's being spread out, and people can invest or reinvest that money also into coaches, players, facilities, logistics, like all these things. And that's so important. Everybody forgets that, you know, like if I mean, everybody who watches us right now, if you do something on the side, how much effort can you really put into the side thing you're doing right now?
Yeah.
And you put some effort in the moment, but you are not dreaming about it. You're not waking up. First thought is, okay, I need to do this. And this is what you need to raise the level in anything. You need to dream about it. You need to wake up. You need to sleep, wake up. It's like, all right, ready to go. I have the next ideas. I need to go to work. And that's the only thing that works in every area of business, right?
Absolutely.
If we want to improve, if we want to stay the same, stay the same. For me, staying the same is getting worse. You know?
There's no option.
Yeah, but my defensive line coach at Florida State told us every day he came in, he pointed up and he said, "Hey, are you gonna get better or worse?" Okay, now we are back. I apologize. We had to cut something out because there's the door. I can't lock it, and my two daughters who are at home right now, obviously, they crashed the whole interview and had a lot of fun with it.
It was so sweet. It was a wonderful seeing you as a father as well. So you got skills all over the place.
I'm a father first.
That's what the girls want to hear. So okay, let's continue because there has been some critique in regards to the fact that there is no youth program yet. What can you say to those critiques? Like, do we need to worry about club sport?
Yeah. So and I'm not going to point the finger at anybody, you know, but we all need to find a way to create something for the young players that we catch them right now and show them what are teams right now selling that a kid from the street or like a soccer player, a handball player should switch the sport just because of the hype on TV, because just in the hype what's going on right now, that's not enough. We need to have a system in place, and the big guys, whoever they are, I don't know, like everybody who's involved need to finally figure it out. And I was trying it on my end, you know, and I'm still trying. I'm not saying right now I will ever stop. I'm still here to find out a way. But the thing is, everybody has created circle and bubbles, and it's hard to get into bubbles. And now people always want to do the whole fighting against each other with bubbles instead of working together, right? And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. When I started this whole gridiron input things, there was, and like I said, I know a lot of people because I grew up in the system. Björn is coming back after his NFL time. He's trying to make money off these kids, and I was like, whoa, you know. And I was like, I never said anything out, like, you know, and because I could make statements on my social media where I have a bigger reach and on TV and these things. I'm not doing this because like that's sad, you know, that people are thinking that way. And there are a lot of people and organizations out there who trying to make money, which is okay, you know, if you're transparent about it. If I'm a trainer, a private trainer, and I say my program costs that much, it's okay, you know. We're nonprofit. I never, since 5 years doing it, took €1 off a kid in my own pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I put money, I put thousands of dollars in it in my own federation to pay. Right now, the last 2 years, my old high school coach who's running it, the daily operations, you know. But the thing is, well, we need to find something. Like we need to tell the kid, okay, if you play a football, a club team says, hey, there is perspective out there. if you're good, if you're a baller, if you work hard, there's a way. Maybe going to college, maybe going to the NFL with the pathway, maybe playing the ELF, maybe playing the GFL for the national teams. Like these things need to be there and need to work with each other, instead of always bashing each other,
Absolutely.
And that's the problem. Everybody wants to. We are not putting the players first.
Yeah.
And when I see these things also, like everybody always, like the media right now wants to do 1,000 interviews with me locally with the kids, right? When kids has a big story. If a kid make it to a college, it's a huge story, and it should be a huge story. But the kid picture and the kid names should be on the headline, and not Björn Werner helped a kid make it to the US. And that's why. Sorry for all the journalists out there that I probably already denied a lot of interviews through my management, whatever, when you reached out. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put the focus away of a kid who worked very hard to make it to the US just because I maybe click more right now during the times with the football hype here because of my private business, what I'm doing on TV, or podcast or whatever. I don't want to do that. That's the same thing what a lot of club teams doing in a way, or like the way it's been. It's not about the players, right? If a player is good and I lie to him just so he stays here, and I put no effort in on helping a talented player, it's not every player is going to leave. We're talking about maybe 2% of the best players in Germany every year. That's not a lot of players who would potentially leave. It's not like your whole team or half of your team is going to the US. And it never clicked. It still doesn't click with most people. It never clicked. I don't understand why, but there needs to be a program in place. Whoever does it, whatever, I'm here. I want to be involved, and I kept saying it. I met with all the people we all know. I met with the German Federation, AVD. I met with them. I'm still here. And you know what? The crazy part is I never wanted to you. I never told them I want money from them. And I'm still sitting here, and you guys never seen me doing something officially with the Federation. And that's tough. That is tough. And I'll be honest, and that hurts me as a player who grew up in this business, or in this culture. And I'm very thankful for a lot of people, but we need to do better because there's a lot of wasted potential of players and coaches. And I'm talking about a lot of coaches too that like I grew up with, and I was like, he was the best receiver coach. He was the best coach there. They all fade away at one point, way too early, because the way it's been, people getting, I don't have the perfect answers, but I would love to sit in a room and provide my input.
You have the experience, so you can share your experience. And at the end, it's not only about losing talents and coaches; it's also losing fans and making this sports big in Europe or even bigger.
Jennifer, you're saying the right thing. Like I have the experience, but. Why is Sebastian Vollmer, Markus Kuhn, Magnus Socha, Jakob Johnson, Björn Werner, Kasim Nabali, why are we not together somewhere at one location and doing these things officially? I'm not saying like with some outside sponsors, some outside organizations. Why are we not doing things with the official federation? Because there was never an effort. And I put effort in to do something, and it was continuously denied, and that's the truth. That's the truth, and it comes to the point where there's a lot of organizations who are coming up, and this is the point where, like, I'm talking a youth program also. Like, I'm not the only one who sent players over there to the US, right? There's multiple programs now. Like everybody, once something works, a lot of people also want to do things, and the thing is, there's very good ones out there, but also very bad ones, and the thing is, more and more people going to start building things what federations, what leagues can't control anymore about their kids and their players, and then you have a lot of different opinions because people want to go a different way. When people have options, they go with the best option for themselves. Whatever that is, maybe it's the kid thinks it's the best option, maybe it's not. But we can't judge. We can I can't control what Jennifer is doing. You know, if you want to cancel this interview right now and never publish it, that's the way it goes.
No, still I'm enjoying it very much.
I'll be honest, I could talk all day about this. There's a
No, but
lot
this
of
is because it's your
experience.
passion, and we are here to speak about American football, and that's why we all love it. So I'm very happy to hear your story. But looking at the bright side now, did you ever believe that American football would become this popular here in Europe and would allow you a second career basically after your time as an active player?
It was always my dream. The way
Yeah.
it's obviously today, like the way it happened, I live another dream right now. You know what I'm saying? Like my active career, I dreamt about that career in life and having this experience, and I closed it, and I was able to stay though with my passion, and that's the love for American football. That's what I'm doing since I'm 12 years old, right? And I'm able to talk about these things and talk about my experience, and I'm getting paid for it right now. And I was like, whoa, like I would do this for free, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I was doing that. No, I know what I'm worth at this point, but like I was doing it years for free, you know? Like for instance, when I was getting drafted, I knew what I would carry on my shoulders, right? I'm presenting a whole country and a continent, like the European football nation too. You know, it's not only Germany. There was a lot of people I played against in with the national team back in the day that they remember me. Like it made the rounds in the football world, right? Today it's obviously more outside. If something happens with a German player, it's not just in the football circle, like in a bubble. Like it's also like a lot of outside like media catch it, and hey, it's a cool story. I'm writing about it, and this is what we need, right? We need more awareness. Everybody needs to get, football needs to be put in their face. That maybe one day they say, I'm trying it, I'm watching it, I'm listening to it, and that way things are growing, right? But with me, I told my wife. My wife knows me since we are together since we are 16 years old, and we're turning 31 right now. And she's been on my side all the way. I mean, she could. I wrote a book, but she can write her own book, just like on her side, what she been through. Like the ups and the downs. And the crazy thing is, I told her when I was getting drafted, or before I knew I was getting drafted, doing this like combine pre-draft time. All of a sudden, there was so much interest in the German media because it's a good story, right? Everybody realized, okay, what will happen with the NFL draft if he gets picked in the first round? It's never been done before. Then, financially, over like trust me, every, what do you call it? A newspaper that is more like not really a sports paper, but everybody had their story in. Not even my name in the headline, but Berliner über Nacht zum Millionär. So, like, oh, he's making a lot of money overnight. Because
coming back to the German mentality.
Exactly. Like we didn't know that system, so it was very new. So a lot of media attention. I had interviews lined up during my combine training. Amazing. And you know what? It was exhausting, but I told myself and I told my wife, I'm doing this right now because that's my part to help grow the sport back home. And I know if media outlets who never talk about football start talking about football, you helped already. You were a part of the journey where we are maybe one day. Nobody knew this is going to be that big, like 5 years, 6, 7 years later. There was also other players involved. There was TV stations involved. Patrick was involved. There was other people involved in this whole concept. But I'm just talking about my part. I took all the interviews I could. I didn't. For the people out there, people think you get paid for interviews. Look, you guys don't. We don't get paid for interviews. Like people who are on TV, whatever. Like they don't, like soccer players. They don't get paid for interviews, no. Like in their free time. So people also say, why is he complaining about doing interviews? If there's a lot of interview requests, like you can't mostly do, like you only have that many hours during a day when you train, when you eat, when you do all these things, you sleep, recover. So I was doing it because I wanted to do it. I was squeezing in every interview request out of Germany I could because I knew this hype will get back home and a lot more people will see it. and hopefully would change. Like, I don't know, inspire the next kid. For me, it was always inspiring the next kid and the next generation, because I'm the first round pick from Germany, currently still the only one, but I would not be the last. I would not
Hopefully
be the
not.
last.
No.
No, I would not be the last. That's what I tell everybody. I would not be the last.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell them. It's you. If I could do it, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're telling it, I just went with it. I trained very hard. I sacrificed. I sacrificed family time. When I was 16 years old, I went to the US. I left my family here. There was a time spent during college. I didn't see my family. Literally, I didn't see my family live for 3 years in a row, because I knew I was on a journey. And after that, I can help my family to hopefully one day. And it all worked out. And then the same thing, I always thought I would live in the US forever. But my plan was, hey, one day football will be over for me, my active career. But maybe it's so big back home in Germany that you can still be active at, whatever way that you can still have a second career, just the way the American football players are doing it back home. Not home anymore, but in the US, a lot of good players over there. You have to be a Hall of Famer to usually sit in the booth. Luckily, in Germany, we don't have that many players yet, So obviously, the pool of experts as players is a little smaller. Like I didn't expect it, but I'll be honest, I'm not a guy who thinks about what happens in 5 years. I'm a guy, okay, I have ideas right now. I'm going with it and see where these go. And it worked out. Yes, it was my hope that it gets that big, that I can be involved somehow in some type of way. But what happens right now, if it's just me, my personal brand as well, it's crazy. Like, I'm so thankful for all the fans who accept me the way I am and enjoy it. I'm also thankful for the people who don't like me, but hey, keep watching football. That's just the way it is. Like, you can't make it good for everybody. I know that, because when I watch TV, when I meet people, I don't like everybody either. But be respectful about it, right? That's the thing we always say. Just because you have a different opinion doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful to other people. Just because you have different opinions, and that's the thing. Obviously, it's a whole another problem, but in the whole social media world, right, in general, but not the football. But yeah, we talked a lot of times, but I feel like I want to still put some focus on the European League of Football, because I kind of drifted away. Because you had a question earlier what I think about the whole thing of the league in general, and I said I'm a fan, and then I drifted away. I'm a huge fan. I hope it works out big time, that there's another league. I hope that it generates a lot of money for these club teams. I hope that they invest, find a way to invest back into their players and their coaches and the equipment manager and Platzwart. I don't know the English word for it. In the doctors and the people who are involved with it. Because if everybody starts to become happy, they put extra effort in it. When you put extra effort into something, things you raise the level of everything, and this is why I hope more football on TV. I'm the guy. Like, hey, look at soccer. We have soccer from the morning till at night, and still soccer is the number one sport in the world. And do we see people complaining about, oh, there's too much soccer on TV, or too much soccer on the news, too much soccer? No, like, the people who like soccer will enjoy it. The people who don't like soccer say, okay, I'm not watching it. That doesn't mean you have to bash it,
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and this the same I see and with American football, and hopefully, look, we love American football. We all know American football is American football, right? It's a different country, but why not create something and raise the level in our own country? Because we lost so much. There's a lot of room up, there's a lot of room we can still fill with. Like, there's a lot of potential. We would never be the NFL. Everybody knows that who's involved. Like,
but that's not the plan.
That's not the plan. Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If this is not to be copy the NFL Europe. I think when I talk to Patrick, I have a lot of questions too. No, you guys creating something new, something exciting, and everybody who's involved in football should be hoping and not bashing it instead, and should like, yes, this is gonna work, right? Let's talk it into realness that this is gonna be in 2, 3, 4 years that everybody who's involved in American football, and I'm not just talking about the European League of Football, their success of European League of Football will go back to the other leagues too, the GFL, to the youth teams. And that's what we talked earlier. People don't see it that way. People always see, oh man, if European League of Football is successful now, whatever, like, all these things I'm seeing already. I was like, wow.
Absolutely.
People.
And the NFL will benefit from it as well, because
Of
there will
course.
be more fans coming and they will be looking into the NFL too.
Yeah,
so it's just a global fan base that's growing here.
You're exactly right. The TV stations will benefit from it. That means they will put up more money to give you as a fan a better experience, and you as a fan have something from it. If you like the GFL more or the European League of Football more or both, doesn't matter, but you will feel if something is successful locally because everybody feeds off each other, you know? And you know, like, it's crazy. I feel like it's always the negativity. People think negativity, you know, about everything first instead of finding a solution. It's not too late just to all work together.
Exactly.
It's never too late.
Exactly.
It's never too late in anything, right? From youth team to seniors team to cheerleading in American football. You know, that because there's also things going. What I'm hearing was, I was like, whoa, it's interesting. I didn't never see these things. Women's football, you know, like why not push that more too? You know, like there's that. I mean, there's a lot of ladies out there who reach out to us, and I love it because I'm a father of 2 girls. Patrick is a father of 2 girls. Like, you know, why should they not have the same rights to maybe get a good practice as a man's team? You know, why shouldn't there be at one point? Back in the day, a flag football team at a young age, it was mixed. Why shouldn't it be at one point where you also have all girls flag football teams? You know, I mean, this is the thing. Like, why don't we just, you know, as a football family, this country is not big in the football world, you know.
Absolutely.
Find a way to stay positive and try to be a part of the solution, you know. And instead of sitting on your couch and just talking negative about things. This is where I'm standing. I'm really, obviously, I'm hoping it works out for everybody, because I'll be honest, I was reading so many things and I've been quite a long time about it. And I was like, oh, crazy. Like people hoping for each other to fail. Like there are fans of GFL that hope that the ELF is not working. There are people now with the ELF fans, whatever, who maybe supports Patrick, say, oh no, the GFL should fail. No, like, you know, it is big enough. Let's realize
they all deserve their own platform, and in the end, it's supporting everyone.
Exactly.
So
football is big enough right now that everybody can get a piece of the pie, you know, and don't realize that, and this is very unfortunate.
Yeah. So tell us about the importance of TV and media within the sport. I mean, you slightly mentioned it, but
I mean, this is what I explained with the draft is. It's very important because you are in the industry. You know how much money is being put in this industry of entertainment and sports, where, you know, and that you have a reach to a lot of people who are in front of their TVs, in front of their phones, in front of their computers, and that's a reach you need for football in general, but also for the local club teams to generate money. You know, I'm not talking about ELF teams generating money, but also about maybe a local U19 team in wherever who needs maybe just some footballs, which are a few $100. Maybe they need their support. You know what I'm saying? But they can, you know, they can get their piece of the pie if this thing gets more awareness on TV, more awareness on media, more people talk about it, because then people who are in charge of things decide, oh man, I love the sport. Now I want to give back, you know, or maybe I want to invest, you know. It's not wrong to say these things like, yeah, I want to invest in a club team right now in the ELF. Why? With the invest, everything works. Like the whole stock market, everybody who is at home invests something either in themselves, in the heart, in his home, in a friend, in a business, in their work, right? And why not say it out loud? Yeah, let people with with a lot of money invest in these club teams, and hopefully, though, the structure is right, that everybody gets controlled, and the level of play and the awareness of American football raises.
Yeah. So you are working closely with our amazing commissioner, Patrick Izume. What came into your mind when he told you about the plans for the European League of Football for the first time?
It kind of came out of nowhere because, like I said, we are family men. We're doing a lot of traveling when we go to Munich. I live in Berlin, Brandenburg, Speckgürtel, Berlin. He's living in Hamburg, and so there's a lot of traveling, a lot of stuff on air, and sometimes you forget to tell you like things like, hey, what are your plans for the future? Or things like we live in the moment, because we are like so hectic, and then once you're home, you focus like, we have the podcast. It's crazy how like sometimes, why didn't you tell me this earlier? And it wasn't this part, but it was other things. Like I told him something the other day. He's like, "Where's this coming from? Why didn't you tell me that?" Like we're like an old couple, But when he told me that, I was like, "What? Like that's crazy. That's a big project." And then he told me about it. And I was like, "Let's go. Like if you don't do it, somebody will eventually do it. Like if Patrick is in the perfect position, obviously, to be part of it, and because he's the face on TV the last 4 years for the sport. So why not? I mean, who else? Do people out there want somebody who has nothing to do and just literally sees money always first? Create a league, you know what I'm saying? And just look at numbers, and nobody who grew up in the system, nobody who's been part and has the experience. Some Schuan Fata, Patrick Izume. There's a lot of guys who are in this football bubble a long time, and they've seen different leagues in Europe. They've seen the NFL Europe. They work for the NFL Europe, so they have a lot of experience. Why don't we give them a chance to try to fix these things? And run with it. And when he told me that, I was excited. My first thing was obviously like, can I get involved? So there was things obviously planned. I know I will support him not only as a business partner, right? Because we're doing a lot of stuff together. But I will be at the games. I will also be at my local Berlin Adler, because I'm Berlin Adler. I will go to games. Now I live in Germany again. I go to the U19 game. I will go. I will show my face. I know, and this is not trying to be arrogant, but I know if a young player maybe sees me on the sideline, maybe he says, "Wow, that's amazing. Hopefully one day I can go to the United States and have my career and come back home too and feel like I lived a crazy life." Like this is because there's a lot of wild stuff I've seen, a lot of great experiences in the football world. Just going on this path with college football. I played in front of 80,000 people in college football every week, and those things I would never get out of my head. Those are things I would take till I'm dead.
Yeah, amazing. So you just said, because I had one question from the coach himself, but basically you just gave the answer. It was, will we see you in the stadium? Not as a player, because we all know you got your Werner knees, but will we see you in the stadiums?
So he told you that, yeah? He told you that.
I take you for that. I will see you there. Yeah, we will all see you around.
I will definitely be in the stadium. Let me know where I should be. Tell Patrick. I will tell him to whatever the opening game is. I don't know if it is there one opening game, is an opening weekend. Tell me where I need to be, and I'm gonna watch the game live.
Perfect. Well, Björn, thank you so very much. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise.
Thank you for those great information. And you guys, well, stay tuned. Summer 2021 is coming, and we all can't wait for the ELF to start. See you soon. Bye.
Have fun.